All right, we are now moving on to contacts. Mutant Year Zero has mutations. Mutant Gen Lab Alpha has the animal powers. Mutant Mechatron has is it secondary systems? It's not the modules, or is it the modules? I think it is the modules. The modules, kind of as your powers, right? Well, these are not mutated beings. And sure, we can say that biomechatronics is your special power, but we're going to get into those in the next video. What your special power is are your contacts. Because remember, this is a game of intrigue. This game is about who you know more so than what you know or having some sort of unique special ability. And we're going to get into more of that here in just a moment. The core values of #RPGate and any good tabletop group are escapism, not representation, entertainment over activism, and natural, organic inclusion, not forced diversity. Please follow that QR code or refer to the description below for the link to the charity we support, which is the Wounded Warrior Project. Thursdays and Saturdays, you can watch the Dirty Casuals on twitch.tv/Legion of Myth. Fridays and Sundays, you can watch the Friday Night Chill Stream and RPG Digest on our YouTube and Rumble channels. Please leave us a comment with your thoughts and experiences, and if you like our gaming content, please be sure to subscribe to Legion of Myth. All right, there we go. There's our fun cover of the dude being pushed down the shaft because he probably said the wrong thing to the wrong person. He even looks kind of older, right? So he was living a good life, and then, bye. Well, he didn't have contacts to save him, so let's take a look at these contacts. Was it 63, did I say? 67. Oh, I was way off. Oh, it's 63 for real in the book. There we go. Now, we're going to spend a little more time reading some of this because we've never covered something like contacts before. So you are a dynast, a descendant and heir to the rich and powerful elites who against all odds escaped the fall and survived in the depths. As a member of one of the houses, you are never alone. You are part of a vast and powerful social network. Despite your role as adjudicator, your most important assets are neither biomechatronics nor Gauss guns. Oh yeah, we're not going to talk about them, but there are Gauss guns in the game. Your most powerful resource and weapons are your contacts. And game masters have to be ready for this, and so do you. If you're not allowing the characters to use their contacts, that's like telling a mutant that he's not using his superpowers. Or his mutations, I should say. Not really superpowers. Or an animal, they can't use his claws. It doesn't make any sense. And contacts are going to be inconvenient for you as a game master. There's one really good caveat. You can see half of it on the screen right now. It's for that communication section. But these are meant to be used by the players' characters, so let them, unless that communications thing can't be fulfilled. Because there is another drawback that we'll get to in just a moment. This chapter describes 20 different in-game contacts. We are not going to read them all. We'll look them over, but we're not going to read them all. We'll probably pick 2 or 3. These contacts are also available on the playing cards, which I have, in the custom card deck for Mutant Elysium. You don't need them. They're in the book. At the beginning of the game, you get a number of contacts determined by your age. And if you go back to the video where we talked about your heir, maybe I called it your adjudicator. I'm not sure your character, but you'll see that there, how many you get. And you can gain more contacts during gameplay. You choose which contacts you want, but each is unique and may not be shared by any other player. This goes back to the whole Mutant Mechatron thing where you don't get to share body parts. There's only one contact for you. You will have to agree on who gets which contacts, allowing chance to decide through dice rolls if there's no consensus. NPCs don't have contacts, we don't care. So, how do you activate a contact? You can impel a contact at any moment during gameplay by using 1 or more influence points. That's as simple as that. Like, how many influence points do you have? I have 2. Well, there you go. You can impel a contact to do 2 influence points worth of stuff for you right then and there, even if it doesn't make sense. Sort of. There is no die roll required, but you always run the risk of backlash, which we'll talk about in a bit. This is important point number 1, communication. This is an important caveat. To employ a contact, you must be able to communicate with the contact in some way that the GM finds reasonable. It could be a walkie-talkie. It could be sending a message. Of course, that's not going to be an immediate response, sending it through carrier pigeon or something. But you have to have a means of contacting your contact. If you can, then it's as immediate as it takes for that message to happen and the contact to get there. So some contacts are specifically exempt from this rule, and we might take a look at one of those. Influence points. So you have to have these things called influence points to make this happen. Prior to each gaming session, you receive a number of influence points equal to your house total number of control points in the strategic game. That's right. If your house, and remember, the other characters are from other houses. So you're screwing over the other players in the game, so to speak. But you're going to have more influence points that can potentially, not guarantee, but potentially benefit your character. You gain additional influence points by cultivating your contacts, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. You may not save unused influence points from gaming session to the next. That is right. You cannot save them. I don't think this is part of any other game. Every other game, you can save up to a maximum of 10. This was like, nope. Once the game's over, or that session's over, you're done. I might be a little more lenient on the session thing and make it more of an adventure thing. I don't know. I just, in my head, depending on the session and what goes on, I might not limit it to session, but we'd see. And you can never have more than 10. So in the social game, you must both give and take. And if you know anything about the Free League games, even when you do manipulation rolls, there's always a give and take. Well, now you have contacts. You've got to butter up that contact even more. Because this is somebody you're associating with and is going to get you out of a jam. This isn't just trying to convince somebody that to sell you some ammo. This is somebody who might have to risk his life for you. So your contacts have their own interests. And in order for them to help you, you sometimes need to help them. Once per game session, you can cultivate a contact. Select one of your contacts and describe a service you perform or to care for the contact. You are free to come up with what you like, but it's usually something related to your profession. You can handle this summarily with a simple dice roll, or play out in detail how to help your contact with something. I'm hit and miss on this one. Part of me would be like, I don't want to deal with all 4 characters' contacts because then we're not going to have a game session doing something else. At the same time, this makes for great filler sessions. Maybe even one-on-one sessions if you want to do it that way. So you can even give the GM ideas for whole storylines in your campaign. Absolutely. Absolutely. Cultivating contact gives you 1 to 3 extra influence points. See the table for details. All right. So you perform a significant service, but without risk to yourself, you'll get 1. You sacrifice something valuable to you for your contact. Now, your contact has to know that you sacrificed that thing. Otherwise, why would you get more influence points with them if you didn't know you actually sacrificed something? Or you risk your life for the contact. That's 3. Bam, 3 points. And we'll look at how to spend those points when we read each contact in a moment here. Backlash. Your contacts can be of great help, but the social arena is full of pitfalls, especially in the political wranglings of Elysium, right? For each influence point you use when you activate a contact, roll a base die. If you roll 1 or more successes, so this goes back to using mutations. It's the same thing as using mutation or animal power. This is the equivalent of mutations, animal power. You roll that, if you spend, and you're not spending feral points, you're not spending mutation points, and you're not spending, what is it for the robot? Energy points. You're now spending influence points. And when you roll, if I want to spend 3 influence points, we're in a pickle here. I want to spend 3 influence points. I roll those 3 dice. Don't I have I have 3 Mutant Year Zero dice right here. Let me roll those things. It says base dice. Let me grab actual base. Hey, don't fall. We're going to do this. I know you're not going to see the roll, but I have actual Mutant Year Zero dice here. I like the original ones. They're more easily read. I don't like these fancy ones. They're just yellow-green. Here we go. I'm rolling the dice. And I got a... Uh-oh. Well, so I got a 2. All right. I got a success. Bam. And I got a... Uh-oh. I don't know if you can see that. That's our little symbol here. That's this guy right here. So something unexpected happened. Rolled another base die to check the table. Well, let's do that. Let's do that right now. I got a 4. What's a 4? A 4 says, usually 1 through 5 are bad, only 6 is good. The contact does as you ask, but wants a payment of D6 credits for its efforts. Holy balls, that's a lot. Well, let's see what it is. Maybe it's 1, but still. Credits are not cheap. It isn't like you have 100 of them. You're rich if you have 10 to 20. That's a 1. Okay. Well, I did roll a 1, thank God. So I only owe him one credit for it. He's like, grease the palms a little bit here, buddy, if you want me to help you out. So that's how that works. And I had that on the screen. You can pause it if you want to read those. Here, I'll go back to the first 2. Where's it? Yeah. So you can pause it. There. Boom. Okay. So now we know how the contact works. Now, again, we are not going to look at all 20 descriptions other than to look at the name of them. We're going to look at maybe we'll do 3 or 4. This is going kind of quickly. We can do maybe 3 or 4. So you can have an assassin, right? And here, I'll leave it on the screen long enough for you to pause it if you want to read what that says. We are going to look at the black sheep. We're going to look at the ones with the interesting names. You have a sibling. So you have a brother or sister, right? Who has developed psionic powers. Remember, psionic powers, biomechatronics, they're all shunned by the elites. This, of course, is extremely shameful, and the sibling is rarely released from the family's estates. But sometimes, their powers can come in handy. Note that this contact can only be used if you have access to Mutant Year Zero, because it's going to be one of the Mutant Year Zero powers. Core book. Zone Compendium 5, Hotel Imperator, has even more information about psionic powers. And here, guys, always give me shit because my short's right up, so let me... There you go. Which one is it? Oh, right there. There we go. Mutant Year Zero, Hotel Imperator. And I have not read through this, but apparently it has more powers in here. And by the way, just so you guys know, these zone books, here, let me find a good page. Yeah, there's one. These zone books are written just like the main books. Same types of pages. I mean, it's soft cover, but same types of pages, full color print. So I'm really disappointed that they don't sell. I think they sell like 3 of them now. They don't sell all of them. I think probably giving away some spoilers, but whatever. Yeah, so very good quality stuff. I hope they make some more. And there are a few of them. They haven't made any recently, though, which is sad. Although you could always use the Free League Workshop, which you can find on Drive-Thru RPG, unfortunately, not Big Geek Emporium, but and get other people's creations as well. Hey, I created a module for Forbidden Lands, but we'll talk about that when we get into Forbidden Lands. All right, so, effect. Determine randomly which psionic mutation your sibling has. Now, you do this at your character creation or when you pick up the contact. You don't do it at the time that you spend the points and summon the contact. In exchange for IP, the sibling will use this mutation to help you. This number of the number of mutant points, the number of mutant points that can be used is equal to the number of IP you spend. So, the way you summon this character, this contact, is this is one of those characters where you could spend all 10. If you wanted, you could spend all 10 of your IP to summon this character and have that character use all 10 mutation points for whatever ability it is. Or you could just do 1 or 2. It depends on what the mutation is. It depends on what your needs are at that time. Not all of these can you spend 10. Like, I think the assassin, you can only spend up to 3, if I remember correctly. The cost 1 to 3 depending on who the target is. Oh, and if you suffer backlash, the assassin comes and tries to kill you. Isn't that fun? So let's you can have a butler, a club owner. That's right, there are clubs there. Is there anything on this side? No, it doesn't look like it. Favorite child, deadbeat child. We're gonna look at deadbeat child. That's another one I want to look at. You have an adult son or daughter who constantly disappoints you. He or she never succeeds in living up to your very reasonable expectations. To help you when needed is the least he or she can do. Now, one of the things I'm going to say about this is yes, I would limit this to people who took the character as an elder, as minimum adult, but probably an elder or ancient or older or whatever they call it. I wouldn't let a young character have this as a contact because your kid is going to be your age. So no. When you spend 1 IP, your child comes immediately and helps you complete a die roll for a general skill. The roll succeeds automatically. I mean, you just put your kid possibly in danger, so you know. Now, why was the kid there? You need to have a really good, good game master for that. I mean, of course, was the kid there, or were you like, boop, 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 boop? Hey, Junior, get your butt over here and do something useful in your life. And then you wait for him to show up. You know? So, all right, dear uncle, faithful spouse. You can imagine what some of these are. There's a couple more I want to look at. Favorite child, that's kind of funny. Feared father, nope, that wasn't one. At least it doesn't. Grandfather's trophy. Yeah, we're going to look at this one because it has a little bit different effect. Your house has accumulated precious items for generations. Your old grandfather has made his life mission to safeguard this legacy. That's right, he who dies with the most toys wins. Your grandfather can search for any object within the family's vaults. A normal item available for purchase in the Enclave community costs 1 IP. A rare or expensive item costs 2 IP, and a specific and unique item, you know, that Gauss gun, costs 3 IP. The GM has the last word about what is possible. Now, again, game masters, let them spend the IPs. At the same time, don't let them. Again, be careful of character rationalization on some things, but you should let the characters use these content. They're spending the points for it, and they're possibly suffering backlash. Think about it. If you piss off Granddad, who has all this stuff, you might be cut out of the will. You must return the item after you've used it. You cannot activate this contact again until you do so. So Gramps gave you the item, and you think you're going to hold on to it and ask him for another, and he's like, nah, sonny boy, you got to bring that back. Judge. One of the 4 judges in the tribunal. Okay, it is called tribunal. Now that drives me crazy. It's 4 judges. That's not a tribunal. Okay, let's move on. Loan shark. That's right. And if you don't pay him back within, was it a week? Oh, D6 days. Must be repaid with. That means you could roll for tomorrow. Let's see. Anything else up there? No. There are a couple more really cool ones. At least name-wise. Mentor. Snitch. Oh, yeah, we're going to look at the snitch. Paramour, you have a secret romantic relationship. Wait, this one had something weird to it. I forgot what it was. You have a secret romantic relationship with someone you should not. Oh, maybe. Ooh, this is Romeo and Juliet stuff going on here. Here she is influential, has a large network of contacts, and wields extensive influence that you can use for your own pursuits, but the costs are great. When you enable this contact, you can use any of the other available 19 contacts because you're using it through this person, and you're just being like, oh yeah, that person has a rich grandpa. This is your lover's contact, not your own. However, the cost in IP is double the normal amount, which means higher chance for things to go wrong. Powerful mother, rich aunt, thug, snitch. Oh, what's the one above snitch? Robot servant. He's a mutant Mechatron character with snitch. You have a friend in the underworld who has eyes on everything that happens in the Enclave. For 1 IP, you can get information about an individual or event in the Enclave, such as the location of a person or something. This is a good CI type thing, right? Like this is your criminal informant. If the information might put the informant at risk, the GM may raise the price to 2 or 3 IP. Note this contact cannot be used to reveal which house is behind an incident in the Enclave. That's because that would spoil like everything. You have to do the investigation on it. And thug. Is that it? That is it. So hopefully that gave you an idea of the different types of contacts in there. We looked over all the names. We looked at stuff. I did see chat moving a little bit, so we're going to look that over. Just a moment here. Right. Grandfather's Trove. I like the Grandfather's Trove one. All right, let's see what we got for chat. Stop sharing. Boom. Let's bring this over here so I can read it. Contacts are neat. again, they act just like the other powers and animal abilities and so forth, but in a different format. Why would assassin leave you alive? You can now expose them. Well, again, there's a professional courtesy you give assassins, right? In this case, maybe that's what he felt, or maybe as he was killing his target, that target said, "Hey, look, you're gonna kill me anyway. You got to complete your job, but kill him in return, and you can have I'll give you the code to my treasure trove or something." Okay, I'm way exaggerating there, but you get what I'm saying. He could have been paid off, or maybe I saw you. You killed my father. The good news is that puts me in control of the family now. Bad news is I've got a loose end with you. I have to avenge. But you know what? I'll get the politics. I'll grease those palms. I'll work those wheels to defame the person who hired you. All you have to do is kill him. You know, there are things that you can obviously do to give that more of a story element. So, all right. So grandfather trove sounds like my family. If I need it, I'm almost guaranteed to find it. Well, my grandpa. Oh, what? My grandpa has his shops. Yeah, my grandfather had a lot of stuff. Well, things for mechanics and so forth. I didn't know it until he died that my grandfather was a millionaire. And before you think that I'm rich, he gave it all to charity, which is his right to do. I've told this story to people in the past, like, "Oh, your grandmother and grandfather were assholes. They should have gave it to you." And your family. No, it's their money. They earned it. Grandfather fought in World War II. You know, he has the right to do with his money what he wants. I'm grateful that he got to be my grandfather. So, I mean, would I have loved to have $1 million? Hell yeah. But I'm not going to fault him for that. He gave it to what he believed in. So good for him. So, let's see. There are folks with treasured heirlooms that went through great pains to get what they've got. Yeah. Darn right they'd want it back. Exactly. All right, we've got one more video for today to go through. I'm sorry, that'll release tomorrow. to go through, and that's going to be biomechatronics. And just think of those as the cybernetics of Mutant Elysium. I don't know why it's called biomechatronics, but you know what? The game uses terms like that, and it gives it a unique flair as well. It's a reminder to everyone to kiss up to your grandparents. No, my grandparents were awesome. They absolutely were. My grandparents were awesome. And even my mom, who kind of took care of some of their money towards the later end of life, had no clue. She's like, "Did you know this? I didn't know this." And I took care of their money. So yeah, but nope, they gave it to charity, which is what they want to do. Again, if you live 90 some years, you're allowed to give your money to whomever you want. And I am not going to fault my grandparents for that. I respect my grandparents. With that said, we're not going to end on a bummer like that. We're going to say like, subscribe, and share for more of these videos. Next week is going to be Mutant Elysium, and what do you do there? We're going to talk about how to build up your political power. We're going to talk about a little bit of what's going on in the background, just a little bit, because a lot of spoilers, and I can't give away the spoilers so that you can run through it. We're generally just going to talk about what Mutant Elysium characters do, in case you haven't already figured that out. So that'll be next week. But the video coming up will be on biomechatronics.